Hey YouTube, welcome back to Night Cascades. We're back. Sorry about last week. I was just really tired and just I didn't really have time. Didn't have time to record. And I'm doing this one right before bed on the night before it usually goes out. So, you know, cutting it a little close. So, you know. Could have pushed it, and I was just like, no, I can do it. It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna be okay. Anyway, I'm really excited to see where it takes us. Where we're at, because I honestly forgot where we stopped. Apparently we're cooking dinner in the game, which is kind of nice because I just finished eating my dinner. I'm a little sniffly, but I just took my allergy meds, so it's okay. But I'm sorry if I sound sniffly. Anyway, let's jump back into it. I don't know if I remember the voices at all. We'll see. But anyway, let's go. Let's go. And I gotta stop saying anyway. I really got to. I must. After taking care of Timmy's needs, I make myself a nice pot of stovetop spaghetti. The good old spaghetti. I love spaghetti, but I only eat it when I'm by myself in case I lose control of the sauce. I'm by myself a lot though, so it's not as much of a restriction. Timmy likes to snap up bits of the dry noodles, but I don't let him have very much. I finish my meal, put the leftovers in the fridge, and drop the pot into the sink to soak. And then the phone rings. I head over to my desk to pick it up. Hello? Oh, hi. It's my Aunt Agnes. Agnes is such a great name. I love that name. It's not very common, and that's why I love it. I carefully unkink. I almost said unink, but then I reread it in my visual. Unkink the cold phone cord. The curls tend to get linked into themselves, especially if I'm fidgeting with them, and carry the receiver over to the couch to settle in. I love my aunt, but she's never heard of a short conversation. Yo, that's such a mood with family. I'm not gonna lie. It's her long distance bill, not mine, so I don't want to hurry her along. I know she's a bit lonely and arranges her budget to make sure we keep in contact. Yes, I'm taking care of myself. I just had a home-cooked meal. No, it wasn't macaroni and cheese. Listen, mac and cheese is the shit. I fucking love mac and cheese. Oh, that's a good idea. I should make a dessert. Maybe that spice cake with walnuts? It can help. I can't help it if my metabolism works that way. I do love desserts, but I feel like I would be spoiling myself if I made cakes too often. Besides, it's a little sad to eat a whole cake by yourself, and a cake is not always safe for dogs. Oh yeah, definitely not. We didn't stop Timmy that one time, but he's better trained now. Oh, you finished the book? What did you think? My eyes strayed to the bookshelf where I keep pristine copies of all my published works. Of course, the name on those spines is not Diane Carter. Not exciting enough. Too ordinary. To me. There are a few people here in the South who wouldn't be happy about their children being taught by someone who'd also written sword and sorcery novels featuring women in leather bikinis. Well, the covers featured the leather bikinis. My actual heroines usually wear more armor than that. But my agent insists that the infiltrating a slavery pit look sells more copies. I don't know if that's what would sell a copy to me, honestly. That's really not what I look for when I look at covers. I write as Rosalind Perry, for the delicate taste of old England. The author blurb inside the cover admits that I'm American, but no one actually reads those before buying a book. Only the first impression matters. Hawk? Well, I wasn't planning on him coming back, but maybe. My publisher will not allow me to write scenes depicting lesbian sex, or to put a heroine into a long-term relationship with another female character. But, oh god, why? But they will let me suggest that encounters have taken place, especially if the protagonist gets something out of it. Secrets, the key to the castle gate, being hidden from soldiers, whatever. Some heroines tend to love them and leave them, men and women both. I didn't say that. I haven't started the new book yet, but I did start a new, well, not a new job exactly. It's not full-time. It's not even a part-time. It's probably more like a contract, an assignment. I'm an expert opinion on esoteric religion. Finally, I get to use the degree for something other than naming priests and demons. Oh, and you'll never guess who I'm working with. Jackie Morales. Yes, that Jackie. Aunt Agnes is my only relative who knows and understands about my lifestyle. Not that it really is a lifestyle. I've been living here all alone for... No, I'm not alone. I have Timmy. Can you believe she ended up in law enforcement? If I had to bet, I would have put my money on her being arrested instead. Would have sounded more likely. I thought she had a juvenile record, but maybe I was wrong, or maybe those don't count. I mean, she's strong, and it makes sense she would want to protect people. It's just, we were always, protest girls in college, and now here we are working for the department. Yes, I said we. That's who hired me. I told you. I'm their expert on cults. It's not like the days when they used to shoot hippies. It's a whole new system. We're here to solve mysteries. Yes, remember about the bombing? No one can forget that. The old police up in Pennsylvania got so caught up in the consequences for criminals that they dropped a bomb on an American neighborhood. An actual bomb. Like we were all afraid the Soviets would do someday. They killed their targets and their neighbors and their children. A whole block of houses was wiped out. And for what? To punish a few people who peddled crack and didn't pay their rent. How could that be fair? How could anyone justify that? Oh, they tried. The old guard insisted it was all legally authorized, as if that made a difference to right and wrong, but the news wouldn't let them out of the spotlight, and the tides of opinion turned. Many police departments had to be completely disbanded and rebuilt from the ground up, around what should have been their guiding principle all along, to protect the public, not themselves. I don't know how much of a shakeup there was down there, though. I promise I'll speak up if I see someone putting the boot in. Besides, I used to babysit for Mr. Williams' daughter. He's a good man. He keeps them polite, and Jackie's been very professional. No, she didn't say anything about that. No, we didn't really talk about anything personal. I tried to raise the subject just to clear the air, but she's pretty much brushed it off. Not rude, just minimal. Quickest answer possible, then moving on. Guess it's all water under the bridge to her now. Oh, am I that obvious? I sighed, thumping my head against the sofa pillows. I know it's hopeless. It's been hopeless for a long time. I'm not expecting a miracle. I guess the hardest part is how much she's changed and how much she hasn't. She's this whole new responsible adult that I've never predicted, but being with her, I can feel her all the time. Whenever she was near me, it was like heat on my skin. I couldn't tune it out. I've been so tense all day. I press a hand to my forehead. Right. I know. No, I'm fine. I do have work to get done tonight. She's supposed to call me tomorrow. Alright. Love you too. Bye-bye. I turn the receiver away from my face and coax Timmy off my legs so that I can stand to hang up. Then I head to the bookshelves to find my introduction to Tantra. Should start doing some research on these symbols from the fire. But my hand pauses over one of my own novels, The Kingdom of the Sun. The protagonist is a woman whose village was raised by bandits, forcing her to take up arms in quest of her destiny. All the usual things. The face on the cover is all wrong. The artist went with someone much paler and bustier, but the woman I imagined, the heroine I described, looks a lot like Jackie. I've never really let her go, have I? I never expected to see her again. I don't know what I might have thought could happen. I never let myself dwell on it. Did I want her to beg for forgiveness so we could have a grand romantic reunion? Did I want her to sweep me off my feet? Did I want her to sneer at me so I could unleash every cutting word I've ever wanted to say to her? Well, I was wrong on all accounts. What does she think of me? She doesn't hate me. She doesn't want me either. She doesn't even feel guilty. She acts like everything is fine, like we're just old friends. Maybe this is what I need to chase out the ghost and hammer the message into every corner of my subconscious. There's nothing there. It's over. I'm a fantasy author. I write adventures and dreams for other people, to take them away from the world for a little while. But magic isn't real, and people like me don't get happy endings. At least we get good dogs, don't we, Fluffball? Woof. Yes, you're a good boy. Yes, you are. At least I'm not alone. In order to unlock your full potential, you first have to love yourself. Stand up. Wrap your arms around yourself. Say aloud, I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be powerful. I think it's one of these ads again. I can attract the fortune I deserve. For more personal instruction, yep. Costs $2 for the first minute and 95 cents each additional minute. Oh god, that's how they get you. We got an achievement in energy potential. My hand hits the button on the alarm clock before my eyes creak open. Oh, 500. Time to get up. I hit the shower for a quick wash. Get the body wet. Get the body wet, turn off the water, soap up, then rinse off. Nothing wasted. Oh my god, are we, I think we're Jackie now. This feels like Jackie. In the kitchen, I slip a couple of pieces of bread into the toaster, then pour myself a glass of grape juice. As a kid, I envy families who could sit around a brightly colored box of frosted cereal puffs with magic tricks inside. I've tried buying one of the new fruit cereals. It tastes like soap. I'll pass. Dark is about putting fuel in your system. You never know when you need to be ready to run. Can't remember who taught me that. I gulp my juice and the tartness punches my throat into alertness. Finish the toast, rinse the plates. Check for crumbs, roll out. I was right. It was Jackie. It had a Jackie energy. I slide into my car and take a deep breath, centering myself. Then I start the engine and switch on the radio. Are you singing, Jackie? Waiting for a star to fall. I don't know if that's how that song actually went, but that's what I went for. One benefit I'm having an early start to my day is that the radio stations haven't yet brought on the morning drive time DJs. I'm ready to play music, not bad jokes about how to be manly. All I need. The roads are wet. It's rained again. Good. That usually means a quiet night. Just like doctors, the best times are when no one needs us. Since the restructuring, the new department decided it was bad policy to have too many cops driving their beats into patrol cars. It leads to officers being bored and spoiling for a fight, while keeping them impossible for citizens to approach. Now most beat cops go by foot or bike, with other officers on call at the department where they can drive in with sirens for backup, if needed. No emergency means no call out. No call out means Means once you've done your required exercise and equipment maintenance, you can spend the rest of your shift reading, studying, or watching TV. On-call shifts don't even have to do paperwork, since they might need to drop it at a moment's notice. I don't mind doing the detective desk rotation, but I don't know if it's my strength. Sifting through pictures, looking for connection, that's not me. I'd rather look a suspect in the eye. Most people aren't good liars if you have the guts to hold their gaze. Of course, I'm not most people. Once I reached the department, I headed to the captain's office to check in. Morning, Captain. Oh God, he's the one I've lost the voice for, so I don't remember what I gave him. God. Morning, Morales. Hey, Jack. Everything work out okay with you and that teacher? You mean Diane? Sure, so far. We don't have any suspects yet, but we've got a few leads to follow. I'm expecting her to have more details later today. She seems to know her stuff. Good. You know, I was pretty surprised when it turned out you two knew each other. You never mentioned when I told you about this assignment. Okay, it's gonna be hard to switch back and forth between these two because they kind of have like a similar like voice. It was a long time ago. Didn't seem important. Seems like you knew more about her than I did anyway. I didn't know she was a teacher. It was an odd thing. Kizzy told me she had a feeling about the two of you, like some connection in the spiritual realm. This job has taught me many skills. Hiding my reaction is one of them. Oh, yeah. Has Kizzy had any feelings about any lottery numbers? You'd think I'd tell you if she did. I'd hang up my helmet and take the first plane to Rio. You're not wearing a helmet, Captain. Yeah, I'm gonna lose his voice. I just can't do it. It's because her voice is kind of gruff. Oh, look. Who's funny? Who's funny today, huh? His face sombers. Afraid I got some bad news. Well, that's no way to start the morning. I haven't even had my coffee yet. Our creepy crawling firebug struck again last night. But another campfire in the woods? It rained, so a little fire shouldn't have been too much trouble. Well, it was in Douglaswood, but no. This time they set fire to some old shack, sent up quite a blaze. I refrain from swearing because I know the captain hates that. True arsonists tend to escalate. Someone burning an old shack now could be setting fire to a church next. But this is our case. It's taken a turn for the worse. You sure it's the same perp? Not yet. That's why I need you and Diane to get out to the scene and investigate. This one's fresh, so she might pick up clues the old team would miss. Yeah, makes sense. I'll give her a ring. I look up at the wall clock. After a roll call. It's still pretty early in the morning. Diane's probably got a school run to make. The scene is an emergency, or the captain would have contacted me at home. Calling Diane can wait an hour or two. You got her number? What? You spend the day with her and never asked? I knew you'd have it on record. I didn't want to ask her anything personal. I'll write it down this time. He flips through his Rolodex and reads out Diane's name and address for me to jot into my notebook. Now get your coffee and get ready for the briefing. Aye, aye, sir. The morning briefing, known as roll call, is an important part of our daily routine. First, the captain checks that everyone's present and fit for duty and that all necessary equipment is in working order. Next, he goes over any major events that occurred during the past 24 hours, any important suspects we need to be on the lookout for, any new laws or procedures that have come into effect, and any upcoming events we need to prepare for. And then there's a quick cycle around for the detectives to give updates on their active cases. This is mostly reminders of what our colleagues are working on in case it sparks a connection worth pursuing later. There's no time. Oh God, excuse me. For detailed information exchange. No one else's recap mentions fires or occult symbols, so I don't think there's any relevance for my assignment. When the meeting ends, I head back to my desk to organize my papers. At last, I judge I've waited long enough and pick up the phone. I ring several times. Perhaps she's still out. There's a click. Hello? Diane. It's Jackie from the station. I'm at the station. Is this a bad time? No, sorry. My phone doesn't usually ring in the morning. I can hear a muffled yawn. If she drank more coffee, she wouldn't be so tired. I got some updates for you. I fill her in on last night's fire and our need to investigate the scene in person. Okay. Should I meet you at the station? Why don't I pick you up at your place? That didn't come out right, did it? It felt like a line. The captain gave me your address, and it would save time. Target's a lot closer to you than the station. Sure, that's fine. I'll get ready. Alright. I'll see you soon. I put the receiver back in its cradle. I better consult my map to find the route to Diane's house. Mochi! My cat is whining. My silly cat. Oh God, excuse me. The radio blares laughter at me, and I switch it off. There's nothing but the thrum of the engine and the sound of the road under my tires. Diane. I put her out of my mind for the years. I never tried to look her up. It would be a violation if I'd use my privileges within the police to breach her privacy, but the phone book is free. Maybe she's listed, maybe she's not. I don't know. I never looked. Also, I didn't think her last name would still be Carter. Well, it's a new age. Time was not so long ago. A woman like me couldn't have had a job like this. People do things differently now. Diane does her hair differently now. Short hair looks good on her. It doesn't look boyish at all. It highlights the roundness, the softness of her face, without making her look delicate. She's not an eager, wide-eyed student anymore. She's grown up, and she's even more beautiful. Still kind and caring, still innocent in her ways, still wanting to save the world with love. It stands to figure she would have become a school teacher. But sometimes the best of intentions just aren't good enough. That's why the world has people like me to do what needs to be done, whatever the cost. I pull up outside of what looks like the right address and double check my map. It's not a bad house, but it's smaller than I expected. I switch off the engine. I'm reluctant to move now. Walking across her yard, ringing her doorbell, it feels like an intrusion. Or like picking up a girl for a date, which it isn't. It was a mistake to come here, but it's a mistake already made, so I may as well finish it. I get out of the car and close the door. I can hear a dog barking. Suddenly the front door moves on its own. Hi. Diane stumbles out the door, pulling it rapidly closed behind her. She extracts a keychain from her purse, looks like a standard leather fob, and locks the door. Then drops the keys back into place, straightening her shoulders and turns to smile at me. I'm ready. I look at her feet and speak without thinking. You're wearing those? What's wrong with my shoes? We're going into the woods. It rained last night. That's why I'm not wearing sandals or heels. Instead, she's wearing a pair of pristine white tennis shoes with neatly folded over socks and laces so bright they could be fresh from the packaging. I'm assuming she's wearing like a floral like dress, so that's why is probably weird. There's gonna be mud everywhere. Your feet will get dirty. Well, I don't own any boots. I know how to lift stains, you know. It'll be fine. Of course she does. She's probably the perfect housewife. Oh, alright. Then come on. Right. She hurries up to my car, pulling out a notebook. I did some research on the symbols we saw in the photograph, the ones that were written around that campfire. The ones on that paper that you said looked Indian? Exactly. They're Sanskrit. So it's writing. What does it say? It's not what it says exactly, it's what it means. What's the difference? The letters are just sounds, but they're placed like petals in a circle to represent one of the primary chakra. I must have looked blank because she waves her hands. Meditation visualization concept. You picture them as a nexus points within your body where energy gathers, and with yoga you can direct the energy to improve yourself. That's a simplification. God, I can't read right now. Goodness. But it's enough for you to get the idea. I think this is meant to be the chakra Manipura. It means something like City of Jewels and Light. It shines like the sun with orange and yellow and red, and a triangle in the center to signify the element of fire. Except our perp put a real fire in the center instead. Does this mean we're looking for an Indian guru or some sort of yoga aerobics instructor? The only Indian mystics I know of are the Hare Krishna at the airports, and they don't usually set people on fire. No, this isn't proper use within the culture. Chakra systems are popular with a lot of esoteric traditions. It's still too early to draw conclusions. She pushes her glasses higher up on her nose, soft little cheeks scrunching up as she settles the lenses into place. Those same cheeks take on a hint of rose as she catches me watching. We should probably look at your new scene, shouldn't we? Yes, that's very reasonable. Leave her alone. She's not yours. I have to keep telling myself that. I haven't seen it myself yet, only the captain's description. Hop in, let's go. Oh wow, it really was a short distance. We park in the woods and walk to where the old shack is located. There's an officer on scene guarding the site when we arrive. He's not from my division. I don't recognize him by sight. He leans against a tree, puffing on a cigarette, paying little attention to his surroundings. No barricade tape. I suppose it's not worth the effort of winding tape around all those trees. It's not like anyone was murdered. With the earlier fires, the official priority was to get it cleaned up as soon as possible, to avoid alarm. There's not a lot of folks around here to be alarmed by anything. The shack itself looks like a wreck, though I can't say how bad it looked before the incident. Not sure what a building was doing all the way out here anyway. This is parkland, as far as I know. Could have been a storage shed for the city division, but that's not much of a secure site to store equipment. Might have been something historical. I hope it wasn't important. As we get closer, the officer finally turns to notice us. Oh, wow, okay. I didn't expect this kind of officer. Excuse me. You can't walk through here. Y'all have to go round. I'm the detective assigned to the forest fire case. I show him my badge. This is my temporary specialist, Diane Carter. Uh-huh. Well, pleased to meet you, ma'am. I'm Officer Romano. Oh, you too? I mean, it's nice to meet you. She dimples at him and he relaxes. Sorry, I've just already had to chase off a couple hikers. Probably used to smoke in that old shack. Now it's the shack's turn to smoke, huh? Diane manages to laugh at his joke. I don't even make an attempt. Anyone suspicious? Don't think so. Diane starts to move closer, then makes a face as her toe sinks into a puddle of slime. Watch your step there, little lady. He holds out his hand to her. She hesitates for a moment, then grabs hold of his wrist, using him to brace her movements. With a slurping sound, her foot comes free from the mud. Y'all need to be careful. What's left out of that thing's pretty unstable. You can take a look, but it's not safe to go inside. Anyway, I don't know what you think you're gonna find. Team's already been here to take stuff for the lab. Right. He didn't seem likely to take the lead. I guess I should ask this guy some questions. If I can home in on the right places to press for details, clues may reveal themselves. Click around the screen to reveal glimpses of the hidden pattern. Follow the directions of the curves to find the central eye of enlightenment. Okay. Intuition mode. What the heck is that? Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's a little different than the other ones. If the forensic team has been and gone already, why'd they leave you on guard? Were you waiting for us? Nah, I'm watching the site until someone can get in touch with the county officials and the owners about knocking down that wreck. It's a hazard. The department would rather clean this up and avoid comment like they did with the earlier fires, but since the shack technically has value, they can't move ahead without permission. It doesn't tell me much. I'm sure I can get more. I also botched the voices on that, I'm sorry. Oh, almost there. There we go. It rained last night, didn't it? Shouldn't that have put out the fire? Not once it got going. Hot fires throw off light rain. The hard part is getting one started on wet wood. So they needed an accelerant. Probably. Team found an empty liquor bottle over yonder, which might have worked. They took it to dust for prints. Remember a quick clarification for Diane. They're hoping the culprit might have left fingerprints that can be detected in the lab. I know. I watch TV. I shrug and look back at the officer. She's like, stop babying me. Goodness. I do know the bare minimum, ma'am. Do you know what kind of hooch it was? So many bottles have fancy labels with weird pictures. There might be something in Diane's line there. Oh, I didn't even know that was Diane. God. Okay, sure. Sorry, you'd have to ask the lab. Well, we can go back to the station later to follow up on that. What else does he know? Okay. Wow, where is this other one at? What a weird... Okay. Wait, wow, weird. Oh, there it is. I was like, where the hell is it? Speaking of prints, did the forensic team manage to get any good footprints in the mud? Diane bites her lip and looks down, apparently where she stepped on the evidence. Nah, the ground was too churned up between the rain and the fire response team. They trampled all over. This was still burning when they were called out? Oh yeah, there was quite a show. The shack wasn't huge, but it would have sent up flames much higher than a simple campfire. With all the mess, you'd think there'd been a whole troop of dancers through here. Dancers? There's no evidence of that, is there? Well, no. It's just a figure of speech. The other ones thought it was funny. Bad jokes are standard on the force. What about tire tracks? Only wheels in the mud were the fire trucks. The culprit or culprits must have parked on the road and walked in like we did this morning. It would have been dark and wet, but the shack wouldn't be hard to reach if they already knew it was there. They must have visited the woods before in daylight. Which doesn't say much. There's hikers and campers in these woods all the time and no one's watching them. It's mostly public land. Is this tied to the last fire or is it a coincidence? Oh, okay, I still have another one. Okay. Huh. What a weird fucking... I keep wanting it to be, like, around him. Oh, it is around him. It's on him, literally. When the team was here earlier, did they find any signs of occult connection? Yeah, you could call it that. Come here, don't touch anything. Following his guidance, we move close to the burned out shell and peer in through the opening that might have once been a door. I've got a light. He swings a flashlight across the interior. It's less of a mess inside than I anticipated, since this structure was apparently never intended for modern habitation. It didn't have a complex ceiling full of tiles and insulation to rain down. Instead, what we see on the floor is something very deliberately crafted to be there. What is that? I'm not the expert, ma'am. No, I mean, what is that physically? That pattern looks raised. It's not painted on, but I can't see well enough. Some kind of dirt or powder. Team took a sample for testing. Powder? Like gunpowder? If it was, it didn't go off. Well, the shed didn't fall down, so if no fire ever touched it, it would still have been pretty hot in there. Even without a spark, smokeless powder would ignite. I suppose. Somebody obviously took a lot of time drawing all those lines. The design means nothing to me, but it definitely detailed diamonds and curls and stars and crosses. It couldn't be easy to arrange all that out of powder. If they meant for it to burn, would they leave that to chance? They might. It depends on what the purpose was. The element of chance in divination is, ma'am, if you're going to talk about unholy practices, I'd rather you didn't do it here. He gestures towards the pattern. I don't know what devilry that is, but I want it gone before it tracks some kind of demon. A summoning sigil? Diane starts to pull her notebook from her bag, then hesitates. Officer Romano, are there any other unusual signs you'd like to show me? I distract his attention while Diane sketches the strange grid from the shack floor. After that, we look around the site for a while, but no hidden clues jump out at us. Romano doesn't want us going inside what's left of the shack without protective headgear, and I agree. It hadn't occurred to me to find Diane a helmet. Clearly Diane thought ahead about some things, though. She's got a little pocket compass in her hand, is taking readings. I wonder if she's looking for ley lines. Consider Romano, though, I don't ask. She'll tell me later if it's relevant. Once she looks content with her notes, I nod to Romano and leave the shack behind us. We walk back to my car. As we settle into our seats, Diane makes a face. Ugh. My shoes are covered in mud. I got clumps up the sides. You're taller than me. How come your feet look fine? I watch my step. I don't want to ruin your floors. Hang on. She does her best to scrape the mud off against the curb. Sorry. Don't worry about it. The car's seen worse. The important thing is that we get to the bottom of this sooner rather than later. Are we in a hurry now? When this case was just an unknown perpetrator setting weird little campfires, it was a curiosity. Now it's a danger. Pyros, people who get obsessed with watching things burn, they don't stop. It's like an addiction. They always want a bigger, better hit. So far, they've stayed out in the woods away from people, but the next target is probably going to be bigger. If we don't find the culprit soon, someone could get hurt. Right. So, any idea who might be behind this? She pulls out her notebook and starts flipping from page to page. What we've seen so far doesn't really conform to a set of tradition as far as I can tell. The pattern in the shack has nothing to do with Sanskrit or chakras or any tantric practice. And it's not related to the kind of symbols that were drawn on the Lucky Penny's window either. So you don't have any leads. That's not what I said. It's not a tradition that's been passed down for generations. And that tells us something about the practitioner. In my estimation, the person behind this most likely falls into one of three categories. The first is an outsider who doesn't really know a lot about the occult behind thinking it's cool, so they pick some symbols at random because of how they look. They're just fooling around. The second is a New Age pagan who is trying to build a new tradition through synthesizing different beliefs. The symbols would have meaning to them, but their meanings might be twisted. The third is someone who just wants to cause trouble and suffering and does not care about how. The symbols might be chosen at random in order to scare people. You know how uncomfortable most people around here would be with the work of the devil. What's worse than a fire? Hellfire. I still think an outcast is the most likely answer, though. Probably a teenager or something who's encountered mystic symbols as part of their hobbies and copy them. Punks, goths, death rockers, and metalheads, Dungeons and Dragons. Those people who dress up as medieval knights and hit each other every Sunday in the park. If we talk to people like that, we might find someone who knows these symbols, or who has a friend who's a little too interested in fires. But there's a problem with this plan, which is, we're grown-ups now. No outsider group is going to tattle on their friends to a couple born adults. I think she's been spending too much time with small children. It's damaging her self-image. We're not in high school anymore except for the sword fighters. You probably can find these people. Oh, you'd be surprised. Huh? I start the engine. Buckle up, we're going for a ride. Oh boy, where are we going? Oh my god. We're at a fucking comic book shop. Well, we're gonna see what the hell this is about in the next episode. Well, next week you'll see what the hell this is all about. I'm actually kind of excited and nervous. This is gonna be a fun time. I'm so excited. Oh my god, this game.